What's up guys, Fahan here. Welcome back to another ultimate review. This is the review of the TVS Apache RTR 310. Huge thanks to TVS and Motorsport for loaning me this bike for the review.
Unveiled on late September 2024 in Thailand, the TVS Apache RTR 310 is a street fighter based on the Apache RR 310 sports bike. RTR means Racing Throttle Response. The RTR 310 is in direct competition with the KTM 390 Duke. Despite sharing the same platform and engine as the RR 310, the RTR 310 has numerous mechanical and technological changes to stand on its own, giving it a distinctive look and feel.
Okay guys, so this bike comes with all of the electronics and riding tech that would probably make some Class 2 riders jealous. And for me, I'm pleasantly surprised by it when I first saw the spec sheet. But it is interesting that they will put it in a feature bike like this. Speaking of that, in other markets, you are able to customize the RTR 310 to your liking, and you may opt out on certain features on the bike lah. But for Singapore, Motorsport, right out of the showroom, is offering the RTR 310 with Dynamic Pro Kit, meaning you're getting all the bells and whistles that is supposed to come with the bike in the full spec lah. Alright guys, so up next we come to riding posture and sitting on this bike. As you can see, seat height is 80 cm, I'm 165, and both of my feet are flat on the ground right now, so it's very vertically challenge friendly, definitely meant to cater to us Asians especially. Weight is at 169 kg, very light, no issues with pushing the bike, straddling the bike. Compared to the MT-03 and the 390 Duke, it's slightly heavier. The MT-03 is 167 kg, while the 390 Duke is at 168. So riding posture wise, the lower half, my legs especially, it's kind of sporty, while the upper half of my body is leaning slightly forward but kind of upright. Very comfortable for me in my personal opinion, but I'm not really too keen about the legs because it's kind of squeezy lah. Kind of similar to sitting on the Duke 390 I feel. But overall, as I'm riding this for the whole day, my bum doesn't hurt at all, very comfortable. Riding ergonomics is also very good. Okay guys, so next we come to design, and as you guys can see from the overall outlook, definitely the design is built upon the RTR 200. And yeah, according to TVS, the design itself is inspired by a cyborg. Some reviewers, they have commented that it looks like a transformer, especially in the yellow scheme, quite reminiscent of Bumblebee. While others say the inspiration comes from the Ducati streetfighter. It's especially seen from the radiator guards on the side over here. The sharp lines flow seamlessly on the body panels, ending into sharp flat contours. Very sharp, aggressive and angular design. Virtually no curves on this, with the exception of the wheels and the headlight cowling. I personally think it's way overdone, but if you ask me, it's neither too futuristic nor is it too radical. It still very much looks like a relatable modern era Street Fighter kind of look, and it doesn't look very weird as compared to the MT-03. And in my personal opinion, it looks like an extreme version of a 390 Duke. We got a two-piece step seat with the pillion seat serving as the bump stop for the riders. The split headlight design matches the RR 310, adding to that connection and continuity to the 310 series. The exhaust, engine, brakes, and a part of the chassis is carried over from the RR 310. The subframe, however, is different. It's an aluminum composite, which looks very nice actually. Cast alloy rims, 19-inch in the front, 18-inch in the rear. And right out of the factory is fitted with a Michelin Road 6. And also another quirk that I noticed, the colours front and rear are different. The front rim is painted black, while the rear is painted yellow. And a road hugger is standard for the Apache RTR 310. The bike's rear indicators and license plates is also housed there. This results in a clean look for the rear as there's no tail tidy. And also, another thing about this machine is, which I feel is kind of quirky, yeah? There's labels and branding everywhere on the bike, which I feel that is overdone and looks kind of ridiculous, I must say.
Also, I want to demo the opening of the pillion seat. Use the key to open it up, and you'll find the toolkit in there. You can also remove the cover and access below it. Granted, it's not really storage, but it's interesting to see.
Okay guys, so up next we come to the cockpit, and as you can see, we got a nice, long, straight, naked handlebar. Very comfortable in my personal opinion. I'm not reaching out too wide, and it's just right for me, I feel. A naked handlebar, of course, easy for you to mount accessories, and I also like that the mirror stocks on this are very different, forged, and really gives a nice premium and modern look to the bike. We got adjustable brake and clutch levers right out of the factory. So up next, we come to riding controls. Okay, so the riding controls on this on par with the double R310. Lots of features that you can toggle and play with, kind of similar to the 390 Duke as well. Okay, so to the front over here, we got the combination high beam, low beam, and passing switch. Hazards, cruise control, which is a nice thing to have when you're riding long distance in the highways. We got PlayStation style buttons to control the gauge cluster. At the home screen, pressing up, you can change the riding modes on the bike. The other controls, I'll explain it in a bit later on. Below that, we got signals, and below that, horn. So to the right over here, feeling pretty empty, we got a combination of starter and kill switch. Okay, so up next is the gauge cluster. The gauge cluster is a full color 5-inch TFT display. Surprisingly, getting more and more common with each and every release of new motorcycles, and I think having a TFT display is the standard going forward, even for feature class 2B bikes, like even the R15M for example, and the NX400 as well. Some bikes that I can mention on the tip of my fingers right now. Unlike on the double R310, which is vertical like a phone, this is horizontal or landscape, which is a typical standard for most of the bikes that come with a TFT display. Okay, so turning it on, okay, we can see the animation, startup animation, TVS Racing, build to order, and the RTDSC branding. And you come to the gauge cluster. Left and right surrounding the gauge cluster, we got the warning lights, all right. Photo sensor come shift light indicator, signal indicators, engine management system malfunction indicator, high beam indicator, ABS malfunction, cruise control, traction control, neutral, and low light indicator. So there's 5 riding modes. We got urban, sport, track, and rain. And additionally, for the RTR 310, there's supermoto mode. So supermoto mode, basically when you want to play with the bike, do stunts on it, which I don't recommend, you can turn off the rear ABS. And also with the change of riding modes comes the change of the UI that is being displayed on the gauge cluster over here. So certain portions that are important is highlighted more prominently than in other modes. Like for example, in the track mode, the tachometer is front and center on the bike with an RPM meter.
We've come to the gauge cluster in the urban mode, thus the urban interface. Starting with the top left, we have the clock, menu function, tachometer, speedometer, gear indicator, temperature gauge, fuel gauge, and below that, running through the length of the display, is what TVS calls widgets. You can set up 4 gauges to display various info. For me, we have the built-in TPMS, top speed that the bike has went, odometer, and range left on the fuel. Pressing the ENT button, you enter the menu. There's ride mode, trip details, my vehicle, and preferences. To navigate, press the up and down buttons. Ride mode is pretty straightforward, so we're not going to go into that. In trip details, there's 4 trip meters, namely A, B, C, and day trip. Trip details such as total distance covered, total time traveled, average speed, top speed, fuel consumed, and average mileage are recorded by the trip meter for individual journeys. You can choose to reset it at your own discretion. Day trip meter records the same trip details for that particular day. Under my vehicle menu, service information, performance records, and personal documents can be stored in the memory. Service information will display your service records. This can only be reset by an authorized dealer. In performance records, there's mileage, which will display the calculated average mileage and speed, the bike's top speed, 0 to 60 km per hour, and average speed. In documents, through the TVS Connect app, you can store and view documents such as the driving license, insurance, etc. Back to the main menu and other preferences, there's a whole range of tech to toggle. For dynamic headlamp, daytime running light, traction control, and quick shifter, you can toggle it on and off. Connectivity is to set up any paired devices and display call options. Display setup is pretty straightforward. In custom widget, you can toggle the various info that you want displayed in the gauge cluster. Speed alert sets the high speed alert and will warn you in the gauge cluster when you hit such speed. It will not slow the bike though. The most intriguing feature that I've encountered so far is the climate control seat. We've heard of heated grips, but this takes it to another level. Warm or cool, there's 3 levels of it, and it's a nice thing to have on your butt in my personal opinion. And finally, GoPro. You can actually connect a GoPro via Bluetooth to control the GoPro to take videos and pictures. However, as I'm using the Insta360, I can't demo this part.
Right guys, up next we come to the engine. An engine is a Euro 5 compliant 312cc liquid cooled single cylinder 4-stroke 4-valve DHC. Makes about 35 horsepower in track mode. Engine is shared with the TVS R310 sports bike and all of BMW's G310 series of machines, as it is a co-development with TVS and BMW. Of course, a unique design feature of this engine is the reverse incline arrangement. This results in the air intake being forward and the exhaust port is placed in the rear. This helps feed the air to be direct, while the exhaust routing is very much simplified and shortened as well. The ECU has been retuned as well, a bigger airbox, slightly better performance than the R310. Fuel tank is 11 litres with a projected consumption of 35 kilometers per litre. Okay, so up next we come to technology, and as I said before, TVS has packed in a lot of electronics and technology onto this bike. So I'm going to read out to you the list over here. Okay, we got full LED lighting all around with Class D dynamic lights. Okay, so what that means is for the rear tail lights, when you are doing hard braking, it will start flashing rapidly. This is something that's already been done on premium big bikes from BMW to Harleys and certain car models as well. For the headlights, however, this is something new in the motorbike world. At higher speeds, the intensity will actually increase as you speed up. So this will work after 80 kilometers per hour and 100 kilometers per hour and so on. There's up to 3 levels of intensity. I'm not really sure on how this works, as I've yet to experience this, as I didn't get a chance to ride the bike at night. Built-in tire pressure monitoring system, ride-by-wire throttle, race-tuned slip and clutch assist, race-tuned linear stability control, RTLSC. Okay, what this means is that this basically groups all of these safety features into one package, which is traction control, cruise control, rear lift protection, and dual channel ABS. And speaking of dual channel ABS, it's paired with bi-brake brake calipers, 2 rotors, 300mm in the front and 240mm in the rear. Okay, so we got inverted 41mm forks and a rear monoshock, both by KYB, preload and compression adjustable. In my personal opinion, after riding it for quite a while, feels pretty firm, but it does absorb a considerable amount and there's barely any rebound after coming out from a bumpy road or even a hump. 5 riding modes: Sport, Track, Urban, Rain and Supermoto, bi-directional quick shifter, 5-inch full color TFT gauge cluster, Bluetooth connectivity through Smart Connect, climate control seat, okay, both hot and cold. And you can actually distinguish this by this imprint on the seat right here. I'm amazed on how they are able to accomplish this. And finally, engine management system. But despite all of these features, despite all of these electronics are very high-tech, very advanced, right? They did not add in a USB port for you to charge on the go, which actually surprises me. And they could have accomplished that by putting it on the right side of the riding controls over here. So no USB port, even a A or a C. But according to TVS, there is an accessory that you can get it from TVS themselves for you to put that USB port on the bike. Okay, so horn check for the Apache 310 RTR. That was loud. Okay guys, so next we come to colors. Okay, so this color that I'm reviewing right now, okay, this is called the Fury Yellow. There's also the Arsenal Black. If you top up a bit more, you can actually get this limited color, which is called the Sepang Blue. So obviously that is inspired by the Sepang racetrack in Malaysia. Up next we come to price, and from the official dealer of TVS in Singapore, Motorsport, the machine price is 11,200 before COE and insurance. Now usually they offer a 1-year warranty, but if you guys quote us, Tambok Overlanders, to Motorsport, you guys get an additional year of warranty, so it's up to 2 years, and also a $500 servicing voucher that can be used at their workshop.
Okay guys, welcome back to the city of Medini, and of course it's time for the riding review of the TVS Apache RTR 310. I've been riding it for almost a week now and I have to say it's somewhat similar to the KTM 390. Just I feel that it's lighter, it's faster and more torquier. When you are riding this bike for the very first time, I swear to God, you will underestimate it. The acceleration, the top on this is very, would say, somewhat on par and above average than compared to other class 2A bikes out there, and it just pushes me back when I first ride it for the first time, like almost like you're gonna do a wheelie or something. Yeah, it's really not an underestimation. Feels very much similar to the R310 race bike ARRC that I tested in Sepang. The handling is very similar, but definitely the power and the acceleration is unmatched compared to the race bike. But still, I feel that the efforts in the ARRC and the One Make Championship has trickled down to the RTR 310. Okay, so getting on the bike, sitting on the bike right now. Once again, I'm 165, completely flat-footed on the ground. Well, doing slightly but very easy. Turn on the bike, uses a key by the way, twist the ignition. You can see the TFT display coming to life, animation starter. Okay, so I swear to God, this bike is unnecessarily loud. Maybe they want to give you that oomph, and also I'm not really too keen on the vibration. Something that I wish that it could be improved, but still okay. And of course, it comes with the climate control seat, both hot and cold. I tried both hot and cold. Has that cold spot on that part of the seat and it works. I'm very surprised on this. For the Singapore market, by default, the climate control seat comes with it, because they are bringing in the highest spec of RTR 310s into the market. But when you're sitting on it, you can feel the mechanics of the climate control seat on it It's okay. It makes up for it with the comfortable riding posture, I feel. Okay, so gear 1, let's go. See what I mean? It's very torquey, so you cannot be true throttle happy on the RTR 310. You must really watch on how you throttle, because it just pushes me back. Low to mid range, the initial torque, I feel that this is probably the best on any class 2A bike I've ever been on. Oh man. Comes with bi-directional quick shifter as well, so you don't need to clutch in while changing gears, but I'm so used to using a clutch, right? Handling wise, it's very awesome. I feel very much confident taking in the corners, going the corners very low, and it's just a nice, comfortable ride as well. You got a nice commanding view of the road right in front of you with this nice upright riding position. Not too sporty, neither it is too upright, just nice. This kind of street fighter riding position, which I feel like doesn't seem to work because everybody's beating the red light over here. Once again, unnecessarily loud at the engine, I feel. But I guess they just want to convey how sporty the bike is. Brakes are awesome. Comes with dual channel ABS, vibrate brake calipers front and rear, and there's all sorts of safety gadgets and gizmos on it. We got traction control, cruise control, we got launch control, we got wheelie control as well. You can turn this off using the supermoto mode. It turns off the rear ABS, and yeah, you can basically play some light gravel or maybe even do stunts on it I feel, if you are into that sort of thing but do this at your own discretion. Got 5 riding modes, currently in urban mode now, and you can feel some slight differences between the riding mode such as the rain mode, it gets a bit mellow, sluggish. We got the sport mode, slightly torquier than in urban mode, and there's track mode. When you want to play for the track, you got the full horsepower, and the tachometer is right front and center, so you can see the tachometer. I'm not a racer by the way, so I'm not sure on what kind of features need to be highlighted more, but the tachometer, the RPM meter is highlighted more and yeah, changing modes is very easy. Just press up, close the throttle, and then yeah, you are changing modes already. Now in supermoto mode, rear ABS off of course, and you got some mountains, the TFT display. Okay, back to urban mode.
So this is my go-to mode lah, and the mode that I've ridden the most. Once again, brakes on a dime. Suspension wise, we got KYB suspension, front and rear. Very awesome setup, I must add. It's quite firm, so you're feeling all the minor bumps and road imperfections on the road. But when you are going through a large hump or very rough road, it absorbs the impact considerably, I feel. So there's this balance whereby it's not too off-roady, especially for a street fighter like this. When you're racing, for example, you want to feel that bump on the road to make sure next time lap you can avoid it or slow down. Okay, we've got some regulators in front. Yep, just as I suspected. You can feel it, but it's not too bad actually. Both front and rear suspensions are adjustable for this particular machine. The Dynamic Pro option that comes default in all Singapore models. So I'm not going to adjust this, and I don't want to, given that it's not my bike, right? But the suspension wise is already good enough for me in this configuration. Yeah, baby. Woo. Man, awesome, man, awesome. I'm telling you, I feel very confident just riding the bike. You know, city settings, start-stop situation, high heavy traffic and all that, it's okay. As a street fighter, it's meant to take on the city streets. It's a very convenient commuter from point A to point B, I must say. And of course, you're getting the torque that you need when you are accelerating off the line. A very punchy acceleration. I was pleasantly surprised and blown away by the performance. The engine sound, not really too keen. It's quite high, and because it's a single cylinder, that's why the vibrations are like this. Kind of something that I wish that TVS could improve lah. Yeah, baby. Oh, yes. Brings back memories of me riding that R310 race bike in Sepang. The handling is very similar. Just that easy kind of machine that you can lean confidently and low into the corners. The Michelin Rook 6 on this, you can feel the bike just hugging the road surface. I'm trying to change without the clutch in, and yeah, the quick shifter on this, bi-directional quick shifter, I must say, very smooth. Okay, not too jerky, and you can even use it to engine brake the bike to come to a stop. You know, TVS will be awesome if you come out with a nice adventure bike with the same features, so that we can make it more versatile, make it more convenient to ride on, and it wouldn't be so ugly, you know, to put a box on it. But I think there's some rumors whereby TVS is going to come out with an adventure bike. Personally, I cannot wait to test it. Okay, so we got green light. Wow, gets up to speed pretty quickly, and some riders may feel that with all these gadgets, with all this technology that's on the bike, maybe the riding experience is kind of dampened. But in terms of the safety aspect, right, I feel more confident riding this bike compared to a bike with no electronics, and it gives me a nice stress-free experience when I'm riding on it, because knowing that these safety features is there to save me. But this is not a time for you to be complacent, but at the same time it's good to have, I feel. Of course, there's no windshield in front of you, so you're feeling the full force of the wind on your body, your face right now. But the riding posture is just that comfortable that it doesn't really bother me too much. Maybe, you know, you're on a track, you're supposed to do this, then you're not bothered by the wind too much. Oh man, very torquey machine. Highway riding is very awesome on this. You got cruise control as well on the bike, so when you want to maintain speed, or you're just chilling, or you're tired, you know, and you're riding on a long stretch of highway going up to Malacca or even KL, you can just switch on the cruise control. I'm going to demonstrate this more on the highway. I'm able to go above 110 definitely with this bike. But we're not gonna push it. And there's a little warning on the top right hand corner that, you know, warns you that you're going too fast, but you can turn this off. It's an awesome safety feature that I like lah. And suddenly when you're on the bike also, it reminds you to gear up, which is awesome. Okay. And at high speeds, I feel that the bike grips the road pretty well, that I don't feel like it's gonna tense up or anything. And yeah, let's turn on cruise control. 104, right hand out, cruise control. Yeah, so it helps if you are riding long distance to Malacca or KL and you just want to cruise. I realized that in convoy riding, you are leading the group or you are alone. If you are not leading the group and you're at the back somewhere, or even in the last man, the cruise control doesn't really work because the riders in front of you will tend to slow down or whatsoever. But it's a nice feature, cruise control. It's a nice feature to have. I hope that when the TVS Adventure bike comes out, it will have cruise control as well. So to turn off, you just brake or you clutch in and can turn off cruise control at the switch as well. Do I think that there's too much features on this bike? Yes, but it's nice to have lah when you're riding, you know. And for a machine like this, for the price, value for money, I feel. And TVS, they're doing great so far lah with what they're doing right now. And I'm just in awe of what the RTR 310 offers. Nice, awesome machine, great handling, punchy, torquey acceleration, lots of features, easy to ride. What more can you ask? While the TVS Apache R310 doesn't carry the reputation of the more mainstream KTM 390 Duke and Yamaha MT-03, it does make up with these features and technology. As a street fighter, the punchy low to mid range and great handling with a comfortable seating position makes it a great commuter in the urban landscape and an enjoyable ride on medium stretches of highway with cruise control on. Basically, you cannot go wrong with this machine. Vibrations is something that I wish that it can improve. The lack of versatility is also kind of a letdown, but you can always remedy it with a boxer. Definitely it will appeal to those riders that crave for punchy, torquey accelerations of the line, and it gives other street fighters from Yamaha and KTM a run for their money. So huge thanks to Motorsport and TVS for loaning me the Apache RTR 310. I definitely had a blast for the past 1 week riding the bike. And yeah, you can go down to the TVS Experience Center in Kampong Ubi and test ride this machine yourself and maybe inquire if you're really keen on it lah. So that's it for the vlog, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Stand back, overlanders. We live in each moment.